Hi, I'm Angela.
And I'm Trish, and we're here to talk about
Bad words in business. The business of closing deals, calling out the BS, and navigating the chaos of life.
because contracts aren't the only things that need fine print.
All right. Welcome to episode 3 of Bad Words in Business with Angela and
Trish, how is everybody?
so fun. Well, let's just start it. It's a Monday for us, so we're dragging a little ass today, but what'd you do this weekend, Trish? Did you do your decking?
No, we laid sod. So this was the sod weekend, and then we are still going through boxes. So I'm finding stuff and I'm like, why? Yes, we do have a storage unit. So for all of you that know me, I love to collect things. So yes, I'm put on restriction from buying any more Christmas stuff, which honestly, I do need to put myself on restriction from Christmas decorations. What can I say?
Well, you have boxes of stuff. You're like, oh, I love these jeans. You go buy a pair of jeans because you love them. And then you're unpacking and you're like, damn, I already have these jeans in this box. Like, oopsie.
Or you find something and it still has the tag on it.
Oh, yeah.
Crap.
Yeah. I probably have thousands of those things still. My husband's like a buy it and wear it kind of guy. Like literally when we walk out of the store, sometimes like if he buys shoes, he'll put them on in the store and walk out. It's like, it's crazy actually. And me, I'm like, oh, I like this top. I'll put it in the closet. And they're like, oh, the weather's never right. Oh, it's been 2 years. I should probably put this on.
Yeah. Or it's one of those like, I don't quite fit into it right now, but hey, if I lose a couple of pounds, I will. And then it's shoved in the back of the closet. And it's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, it's so true. How hard was the sod? Was it easy?
Yeah, it's actually not really difficult to put down. It comes in, it's more of the weight work. And when I say weight, I mean heavy. It's just these big rolls of grass that have dirt attached to them, and you have to lay them, roll them out, put them in order, and cut and paste together where there's holes. So, yeah, but he did a good job. I watered. That was my contribution. I did water.
Perfect. Sounds like a good team effort. And there's a little sun up in Washington right now, so it should grow nicely. They're putting in sod in my neighborhood actually right now as well in random spots. And in Arizona, it's 103 the entire week this week, including the weekend. And so I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's like dead before they're even putting it out. It's not super smart, but our neighborhood's beautiful, I guess. So I just walk by and think about all the dogs that are going to pee on it.
Yes, and turn it yellow.
Yeah, pretty stupid. Well, my weekend was funny. We celebrated my daughter's 16th, 17th birthday, and we went to the cat cafe, which was so cute. Yeah, all of the cats are adoptable. And it's the first one in Phoenix, which I did not know. It's the first one in Arizona or something. They had really good coffee, actually, like super good coffee. They didn't have any snacks. I think it was all drinks. And then you just go in and they have the whole room is set up. It's a giant room and it's set up with like all these they've built things all along the wall, and these cats just run around and have their best life. And most of them were trying to sleep, but we got to pet them. There was like 25 of them in there. Wow. So, yeah, they tell you all about them. You pet them. There was only one that was cranky that actually whacked me and got me bleeding pretty good. So that was annoying. But then it was still cute. Then we went to this slide place called like Slick City or something, and they have all these slides, just like if you were at like a water slide park, right? Very similar, but you sit on a mat and you go down. That was really fun, except I'm like no spring chicken. So it was definitely, I didn't want to do any of the ones that were dangerous because I'm like, oh, I'm not trying to break any bones. And then I did all of them anyways. But they are scary, and the stairs were super big to go up. So watching the little kids go up was really funny, and it wears them out super fast. We paid for 2 hours, and I think there was 5 of us total. It was my husband, my soon to be 17-year-old, and then my oldest daughter and her boyfriend. And after an hour and a half, we were done. We were tapped out. We were like, okay, this is hard. And then you also hold on to the mats with your hands as you go down, and you have to go face first, which is also different because it's a slide. So you think like you go legs first, but no, you go face first. You hold onto this mat with your 2 hands. And so needless to say, today my muscles hurt real bad from like the elbow up. And my youngest daughter said her arms hurt today too. And then my husband's arms hurt too. But he keeps saying that it's because he pulled something. But not listening to is that, no, it's because you're a desk worker now and you don't have any muscles. So I hate to talk shit about him. But truth is, we lose our muscles at a desk.
We do. We don't use them anymore. Yeah. And that's exactly right. You go out and by the end of the night, you're rubbing that Tiger Balm on. Trying to get your muscles to release.
Yeah. I've been trying to explain that to him, but he is like, no, I definitely pulled something. I can't move my shoulder the same. I'm like, yeah, that's your shoulder muscle. That's like the one that you were using. And mine's like my tendon in my shoulder as well. But you don't argue. You just say, okay, that's fun.
It was still fun doing it though, right?
Yeah, it was a cool experience. So I did tell my kids, see, good thing you have a young hip parents that can get up this thing, because holy moly, like I was breathing heavy at the top. I was breathing heavy as we were coming down. We were sweating. Like it was an experience for sure. It's hard to go back to being a kid when your kids get older. It's hard to do those kid things.
Agreed. Our kids, we just go to a bar and drink. I don't have to worry about that. They're all a lot older, so they're already past that. I don't have to worry about it.
We're making our way there slowly. We're at 24 and 17, so we're slowly making our way out of the kid stuff. But I thought it was cute that my daughter chose those things. Usually we go on like a small trip because I love quality time. So usually we go somewhere, but this time she was like, let's do this and this. And then she was super grateful for it. We even took her to lunch at like her favorite restaurant. It was a Mexican restaurant. We didn't make them sing to her or anything, which we felt so nice about that. And then we came home and her dad made some really good dinner. Like, yeah, she had a good time for a 17-year-old. She was actually happy.
That's fun.
Not the easiest. And then yesterday we had a pool day because in Arizona it's a freaking so hot. So
every day would be a pool day.
Yeah, it was a toasty one. We all slept in, which was amazing because I never sleep in. And then yeah. So here we are.
Nice. Nice. Winston, actually, I took him to get a bath and a little trim. So he got his nails done and got them cut and buffed. And in between his little pads, he got the hair removed. So, and he got a bath.
Nice.
So I was like, instead of me getting in the shower with you, I'm just going to let you have a bath. So.
Smart. It's hard to wash dogs. They're freaking hard. I don't wash my husky mostly because for one, I can't ever get her undercoat wet and I can never get her dry enough either. So she always smells like a fart for hours and hours afterwards. So you're like, even the groomer, we finally found a groomer groomer that blow dries. So now she doesn't smell like a fart for like 4 hours while it's drying.
It's like that sulfur smell. I don't know what it is.
It's disgusting. I'm like, gosh, why does she smell worse now than she did when we sent her out with them? Like, this is crazy. That's funny.
They put like some kind of little spritz on him. So I feel like it's when you go through the car wash. Do you want new car smell?
Yes.
Yeah, so they gave him a little bit of spritz, but yeah, he actually smells good.
Huh, cute. Nala usually smells good, but it's like later. And she smells good if we give her to the people that we have a mobile groomer that we'll hire every once in a while, and they blow dry her, and she smells much better when they blow dry her. But
yeah,
she
has really thick hair.
Yeah, she's just hard to groom. She's hard to do everything. She's also getting older, so now she just howls the whole time. You know, she's an old lady. She gets mad now. She doesn't want him to touch her. She just wants to be left alone. But if you don't get her groomed, then her hair is in piles and piles and piles around my house, just blowing around. Like, we could make a pretty good wig with all the hair we get around here.
All right. That's interesting and disgusting both at the same time.
Wow. With that being said, now that we've caught up on our weekend stuff, I thought today would be fun to talk about some title and escrow horror stories, because we've talked about the things that we deal with and the things that we do, and, you know, who, what, when, why, where already, I feel like. Yeah. And so we wanted to share some horror stories because there are so many. And this isn't even like the obvious ones where you go to close a deal and you find out that the buyer bought a car the day before and the lender has already approved it. And guess what? Now their debt to income is higher and the deal is going to cancel, or they don't qualify anymore. That happens.
Yes.
Not as much as you would think, but it definitely happens to where the buyers are like, oh my gosh, we're closing tomorrow. We thought it was okay to go buy a boat. And we're like, no, that's not how it works. So if you don't know, a lender pulls your credit again right beforehand just to make sure that you haven't purchased anything else. And if you have, you're screwed. So wait until the house closes. If it closes today, buy something tomorrow. Yes, and you're good to go.
We actually had that with a client. He went out and bought this huge truck, $80,000. And so they had not closed, and the lender said, you're going to have to pay it off. Yes. So he borrowed money, but not where he was making the payment directly, like on your credit report. But he did borrow money. He paid it off, and then he made payments to that person. But what are you thinking?
Yeah. That's a dumb one. Another good one that I had, and I touched on this a little bit the last episode, is like when we very first opened. This is like in the very beginning. We were so excited. We got our website going. We're all in, and we get a call from somebody, and they have a deal, and they're so excited. They're going to buy this piece of property, and they're out of state, so they're going to send us the earnest money. We're like, oh, okay, sounds great. Then they're like, oh, actually, we're going to buy this in cash, so we'll just send you a check. So we give them all our information. We're excited. This is like one of our first within the top first five. And so we're like, we're ready. So they send us a check. We finally get the check after doing some haggling and like, where the heck is this check? We finally get it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, gosh, this check seems strange. It looked like a regular check, but it just wasn't lining up. Like the bank itself was in a different state as the business, and that was a little weird because usually if you have a business in Washington, you're going to use a bank in Washington. As I say that, my personal account is actually in a different state. But either way, but that was just kind of a weird red flag for me because I thought like, gosh, that seems strange. And then The signature on it did not match the business owner. So that was also another weird one. And then where it really got weird was the date font was different than the company where they had wrote in our company name. The date font and our company name font were different.
Oh, nice.
And it was like a typewriter looking check. So we were like, oh, that's weird. So come to find out it was fraud. It ended up being, we had to call the FBI, and the FBI came and picked up the check, and it was freaking crazy. So needless to say, though, we got it all taken care of. We did not take that transaction, and really sad, but we did not take the transaction. And once we told the people that we had reported it to the FBI, we told them that we did it just because we wanted to have them check on it and because we were newer. And they didn't contact us again. So that was a crazy one for sure. What?
Yeah, we had one, this would have been last year, where we kind of touched on this a little bit about when you've got a lien on a seller and it's not on the property. And all liens should be paid off, especially when you have a manufactured home. So this one pertained to a manufactured home. Excuse me. And what it was the lien was put on the seller. It's not put on the home. Well, you don't pull title on a manufactured home. You're just going to pull it on you don't pull it on the person. You don't pull it on the home. You're just going to transfer title. So that's basically what we're going to do. We had a situation where the gentleman, we found out after the close of escrow, owed over $10,000 to the park. We didn't know about it. Obviously, the seller was aware of it. He then pulled in the agent and said, I need my money right now. And so we asked Angela to please do the wire immediately so that he could get his money. So, of course, we did it. There's proceeds. That's not a problem at all. He deserves his money. We get it done. He gets his funds. And then 2 days later, we get a phone call from the manufactured home park asking where the payoff is for the funds that are due. Well, the good thing on our side was we spoke with them at least 2 or 3 times, and never once did they mention that he had outstanding money. We sent over, it's called a demand, which they have to complete it to say, is there any back rent due? Are there any liens? They said, no, everything is fine. We did give them a small check to catch him up with a previous month's rent because there was enough in the proceeds, no problem. And then everybody said no. Even on the seller questionnaire, the seller said there are no additional liens on me. We're in the clear. Then we found out, yes, that he actually owed the park $10,000. It is up to the park to collect the money, but unfortunately, the seller kind of went into the dark, and we don't know what ended up happening with we spoke with their lawyer, they spoke with our lawyer, and then nothing ever ended up coming where it came back to us. But
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, that one was not our fault. Just another funny situation, though, where a seller didn't disclose all his information. We actually now have a way to go around that and figure stuff out like that. At the time, we've had pretty honest people, so we haven't really run into that before. This was actually our first time, of course, and make the mistake once. And now we're like, okay, we're not going to do that again because that was freaking dumb. And that's just goes to show, though, how important it is to be honest and fill out your paperwork correctly when you're sending those things over, because people are going to get their money one way or another. And if you have to hire an attorney, it's going to cost you even more. So why not just do what you're supposed to do and get it over with? Yeah.
But the lesson I learned is that if I have an agent coming in hot and saying, oh my gosh, he needs or she needs her money right now, I'm like, you just need to take a deep breath, because I'm not going to go down this road again.
Yeah, or why do they need their money so bad? What's wrong? That instantly will that will raise red flags to us, to where we're like, wait. I think we sent it to him too at it was right before cutoff on a Friday or something. And then on Monday, everybody was freaking out and we were like, oh shoot. So that was a good one. And then we've had, one time somebody was buying a lot from somebody else, a property, and it had a mobile home on it. And we will eliminate a mobile home, which means we basically remove the mobile home from the property. We say it's not there. We do all the work. It's actually a pretty big process to get it eliminated, but once it's eliminated, it's eliminated. And these people had something on there, something that said that it needed to be, but the buyer said it didn't need to be, or the seller said it didn't need to be, and the buyer said it did need to be, but they weren't saying it to each other or us, or maybe they were only saying it to each other, right? And not us, or something like that. And somehow we got in the middle of that one as well. And we're like, wait, we didn't know. That's nowhere in writing anywhere. And there was some outstanding work that was supposed to be done that was negotiated between the buyer and seller, which again does not come to title and escrow. And so when it closed, they tried to get us involved, and it went off the rails, actually. And the people were complaining for months and months until finally we got out of it, because of course it had nothing to do with us. But that's just a prime example of get your shit in writing. Anything that you're doing when you're buying or selling a property, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. If you shook on it with the buyer or the seller and you're like, yeah, this is great. Bullshit. It's not great. Make sure it's in writing. And if it's something that is affecting closing, so if it's they need to finish construction before we're going to close, then you need to tell your title and escrow person, because we close when the day says we close. We close when we get all the funds in and whatever date we're given. We don't know any different. Back to that third party disinterested person. That's us. We don't give a shit about the work. We just give care to get you into the house or out of the house or whatever it is.
Well, also the buyer was an agent. So sorry, but they should have known better. Come on, you know the law better than anybody. So
yeah, that was a tough one. That one was a good one. That one our crew actually we're gonna have to go and talk at, and or she did go have to talk, and we got a notice saying that our LPO had to go in and talk about it, and come to find out we got totally removed from it. But again, another position that puts our staff in an awkward place. It puts everybody in an awkward place. And then of course the agent doesn't like us anymore because he still thinks it's our fault, even though we were removed. That's a weird one.
It's always interesting when you are escrow and people just want to point the fingers. And unfortunately, the reason being is that we do touch everybody. So we talk to everybody, we touch everybody. But if people don't share the information, we can't repair it. We can't make it better. It's not that we're just sitting here with, our fingers in our ears saying we don't hear anything. But that is the truth. If we don't know, we don't know. I can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not tied to anybody. So we're not tied to the seller or the buyer or the agents. We are just there to help and assist and facilitate. We just don't take sides. So we don't freaking know. We don't know what's going on. I would say that was another good one. As you can tell, title and escrow, you get a lot of like random lawsuit threats.